Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Scumdogs Kennel. I'm your host, Chris Williams, and tonight we're going to be looking at mysteries of the Grand Canyon. There are several mysterious things going on in the national park where the Grand Canyon is, and we're going to be looking at them tonight. There's aliens, pyramids, all sorts of weird things that are in that place. And we're going to be having some fun. But first, while we wait for people to gather in the chat, let me go off and show off some artwork from my own upcoming graphic novel, Scumdogs. All right, here we go, folks. Here's my extreme 90s cover for my graphic novel Scumdogs. Scumdogs is a parody comic book. It's a parody of Saturday morning cartoons from the 80s. When you read my book, you're going to feel like you're back on Saturday mornings watching cartoons and eating cereal in front of the TV. Now, Scumdogs, the title characters, they're supervillains. Pretty much they're parody versions of the character of the villains you used to watch when you were a kid. And they're in this book, as usual, they're trying to take over the universe. Only all the characters are turned up to 11 and completely insane. Now, the Scumdogs themselves, well, they're former pro athletes. See, in the future, thanks to transhumanism, thanks to genetic engineering technology and cybernetics, people can basically become immortal demigods. And this is where this comes in. Because, well, the Scumdogs, thanks to magic and science, turned themselves into monsters to compete in the Scumdog sports. Because they used to be former pro athletes that competed in these sporting events. The Scumdog sports, basically a bunch of sporting events held with superhuman monsters as the pro athletes and stuff, as the competitors. See, they transformed themselves into monsters for money. You know, they wanted to be rich and famous and have all the glory, so they turned themselves into monstrous abominations to get it all and stuff like that. So you get the idea. They're led by Deathmug. He's the purple guy with the metal mask over here. He's the leader of the Scumdogs. He's a parody of various main villains from 80s cartoons. You know, like Skeletor from He-Man. Because like him, he has a skull for a face. You know, the villain of He-Man, stuff like that. Now, he's also a parody of, if you look at his mask, it looks very much like a silver metal mask like Cobra Commander had, the leader of Cobra from G.I. Joe. Deathmug is an arrogant dictator who wants to rule the universe. He's one of those rich, famous pro athletes. Like, think of today's pro athletes. He wanted all the money and all the glory, but when he got banned from sports, he went nuts and decided to take over the universe. You can see him fighting his archenemy in the Space Force as the leader of the Wild Rangers, Buick Starpoon over there. Buick Starpoon and his team are basically G.I. Joe parodies, but they're also crossed over with Star Trek and Star Wars characters as well. Buick Starpoon himself is basically a parody of Duke from G.I. Joe, Han Solo, and Buck Rogers and stuff like that. You can see in the way he looks. Now, if you look at his uniform, it looks like something from Star Trek or Buck Rogers and stuff. Anyone on this cover with a similar uniform to Buick Starpoon, no matter what color it is part of his team in the Space Forces, the Wild Rangers. Now, because they're G.I. Joe parodies, that means they each have a military specialty. If you know anything about G.I. Joes, each G.I. Joe had a military specialty. It basically listed on the boxes they came in their skills and abilities. That's their military specialties and stuff. Let's go over here and look at the other members of the Wild Rangers. This guy with the mohawk and the dark blue and white uniform, his name is Roadhog. His military specialty is that he's a soldier. He used to be part of the United States Army. He joined up with the Wild Rangers and now fights the Scumdogs. Then we have this bald guy down here with the gun and the lighter blue uniform. His name is Beach Pounder, and his military specialty is that he's a Marine. Then you have this guy back here in the red uniform firing off his missiles. His name is Blast Tank, and he's a heavy vehicle specialist, otherwise known as a tanker. You know, those guys who drive around heavy militarized vehicles like tanks and stuff, or other such vehicles. Now, as you can see, this cover looks pretty good. You have a choice of 3 different covers when my Indiegogo goes live. I work on my book every day, folks, and when it's done, go back it. And this looks pretty good. Let's look at some more characters and artwork from my upcoming graphic novel, Scumdogs, now, all right? Here we have Girl Friday. She's another member of the Wild Rangers. Girl Friday is a parody on the Girl Friday archetype character. If you don't know what a Girl Friday character is, it's usually a female soldier that's in love with their superior officer and follows them around like a little puppy. As I've said before, the joke here is that Girl Friday hates Buick Starpoon's guts and thinks he's an idiot. She was assigned to the Wild Rangers because the Wild Rangers fight the Scumdogs every day and save the universe. That would make them heroes. The joke here is that, they're complete morons who can't do anything right. Buick Starpoon can't basically do anything but be a military moron. He's an arrogant, overblown jerk who never listens to anyone and always gets him and his team up over their heads in trouble when they basically fight the Scumdogs. And the only way they really get out is by basically blowing everything up. So they're destructive morons that basically just do a whole lot of damage. And because of all the criticism, their superiors and the Space Forces, Girl Friday's bosses and stuff, they got tired of that and assigned Girl Friday to basically babysit the Wild Rangers and make sure they do their jobs right. And she hates Buick Starpoon's guts. Here we have Death Mug's henchman, because in all 80s cartoons, the main villain of the cartoon would usually have henchmen on his team who would be complete morons, or usually all of them would be morons. These are Death Mug's morons and, my morons. The big fat pink guy down here is Sloppy, and the blue guy up here with the top hat is Murder Mouth. They're basically a parody of Bebop and Rocksteady from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and are complete morons, but they're going to be fun when you read about them. Here we have Hair Metal Doctor. Hair Metal Doctor is another member of the Scumdogs. As you see, he's a totally regular human. That's because he was hired by Death Mug to be his mad scientist. He's a parody of a character from G.I. Joe known as Dr. Mindbender, a mad scientist. But my mad scientist is also a hair metal musician, because that's awesome. He thinks of all the machines and gadgets, gadgets, and he thinks of all the gadgets and machines the Scumdogs use to try and take over the universe. And here we have Miss Brusty Melon. This is Miss Brusty Melons, and she's a parody of the Baroness from G.I. Joe, one of those sexy female spy kind of characters. A femme fatale spy character who's sexy and awesome. The joke here is Girl Friday is basically a dumb blonde from California. She used to be the CEO and owner of her own company before she decided that, she got bored of being that and decided to become a supervillain for fun and join up with the Scumdogs. And that's pretty much what she does. Now, we looked at my characters. Let's go over here now and look at some Indiegogos before we look at Mysteries of the Grand Canyon. Okay, folks? So let me go over here. All right. We go down here. Let's go look at Mike Barron's Thin Blue Line again. All right. Heavily trying to push that book, folks. Let's go down here. There's Creepsters. By the way, folks, please go and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Never mind. Read Comics, They're Bad for You, okay? Go and subscribe to my YouTube channel. The there in the title is misspelled. It's THERE, so it's Read Comics, They're Bad for You. Thin Blue Line has made $22,788. It's got, it's got a few days left. Thin Blue Line has made $22,788. And it has 14 days left. Let's go look at here. Down here and stuff. You can back this book for $10 to get the digital version. You can get the print version for $25. It's 56 full-color pages, proudly printed in the USA. Let's go look at this trailer now.
Beginning with issue number 1, Mike Baron wrote Marvel's The Punisher for over 5 years, approaching it as a straight crime comic, without any superheroes, aliens, or robots. Over the course of 60 issues, Baron elevated the gritty anti-hero into one of the most popular and enduring characters in the Marvel Comics universe. Now he brings that same ultra-realistic intensity to his latest graphic novel, Thin Blue Line. In the middle of a long, hot summer, a police shooting ignites the city. Activists, opportunists, and provocateurs descend to riot, loot, burn, and kill. Thin Blue Line follows Officer Valeria Baca and her partner as their detail guarding the mayor turns into a battle for survival. Ride along on this harrowing tale of two brave law enforcement officers fighting for their community and their own survival in a world gone mad. Eisner winner Mike Baron has created an alarming tale that unflinchingly examines human fallibility on every level. Along with penciler Joe Arnold, himself a full-time police officer, and talented inker Jeff Slemons, they've created a moving and entertaining story ripped straight from today's headlines. Thin Blue Line exposes the defund the police movement and its consequences for society, but several comic book companies have refused to publish it. Now we're asking you to join the effort to distribute it independently and help support the men and women of law enforcement. Get your copy of the only graphic novel to offer an unflinching and not always flattering look at the men and women of law enforcement during a time when we need them the most. Not all heroes wear capes.
That was Thin Blue Line, folks. You can back it on Indiegogo. You can get it for $25. I say, go get it, folks. It looks awesome. Now, let's go over here. Get this for a few minutes. I think now I'll go up here. Here's Alien Alamo, which has made $826. It's still funding in demand. You can back this book for $25, and you have a choice of 3 different covers. You can also get the Chenoo and the Alien Alamo together for $50, so go back it, folks. Here's Creepsters, and it looks pretty good as well. You can back this book for $25, and you have a choice of several different covers. Creepsters is about a bunch of little monsters that basically invade a town. This guy named Max and his friend Chomper, one of the little monsters who he makes friends with, basically has to defend his sister and his town from the other Creepsters before they destroy everything. You can back this book for $25, and you have a choice of several different covers for it. You can get also a plushie of it, of Chomper as well, and well, you can go get it on Indiegogo, folks. Now, folks, let's go look at the Mysteries of the Grand Canyon. We have several different several different articles to look through tonight. Let's see. I think now I'll start over here. Here we are. Ancient lost city in the Grand Canyon, an ancient Egyptian city in the Grand Canyon, and stuff like that. There's supposedly ancient Egyptian ruins in the Grand Canyon, but apparently a bunch of ancient Egyptians were able to get over here and build some temples, and maybe not just them, but also other civilizations who set up residence in the Grand Canyon. And we'll be reading about them right now, folks. Do you think it's possible? I don't really have to say anything. Let's just get it. Let's just do it. Lost civilization in the Grand Canyon. Egyptian? An incredible discovery has recently been discovered in the United States. Presumably, an ancient civilization lived and developed under the Grand Canyon. Ancient Egyptian lost city and Buddha statue discovered in the Grand Canyon. The Smithsonian Institute has already classified the evidence for this discovery. The story first appeared in 1909, and the World Explorers Club conducted an investigation to show the authenticity of the story. The expedition was led by Professor S.A. Jordan of the Smithsonian Institute in the caves of the Grand Canyon. However, the Smithsonian states that you do not know anything about this expedition and the discoveries it has made. No further. This website uses... All right. This states that you don't know anything. This goes made. No further information was provided on these findings. Here's apparently one of the places where there are these Egyptian mummies and Buddhist statues are and stuff like that. At least it's an artist rendering of it. That's interesting. Let's get let's read a bit more. We are facing an incredibly important discovery that can change theories according to which there was no form of communication between continents separated by oceans. The Indians were supporters of the Ice Age adventurers that have come to the United States through the Bering Strait. The idea that Egyptians have reached the past to the United States is rejected. The institution probably wants to maintain the status quo of things and keep some knowledge prohibited from the public, a further cover-up. Can these sites have any connection to other Egyptian finds? Can these Grand Canyon caves contain the answer to all these mysteries? Watch the next Watch the next video for more detailed information. Basically, just they're trying to promote their video here on it. The Grand Canyon is an eroded desert landscape in the northwestern Arizona, USA. The Grand Canyon National Park, 4,926.7 kilometers, has been included in the UNESCO World Heritage Site since 1979. The Colorado River has been buried in the bedrock for a long time, forming one of the world's largest ravines. It is approximately 4,036 kilometers long, 0.424 kilometers wide, and up to 1.6 kilometers deep. The Grand Canyon is called the world's largest and oldest history as it contains so many different ancient stones. The upper layer consists of the youngest rock, which is limestone, and is 250 million years old. Below the limestone are older stones. There are many fossils in the rocks. That tells you what the Grand Canyon is, and we also have wondered, is there an ancient Egyptian civilization there, as well as a Buddhist statues and stuff? Don't know. People say there are. Maybe there are. I don't know, but we need more evidence. But it is cool and stuff like that. I think there is a good chance that this stuff does exist there. Maybe, as I said, part of an ancient world civilization, and who basically, where the civilization, well, thanks to something maybe like a great catastrophe, like a meteor impact or the flood, the flood, Noah's flood, basically destroyed the civilization. And basically, we have remnants of it, like Egypt, and as well as possibly if there's anyone who did live in the Grand Canyon back there and built this civilization, maybe remnants of Buddhist statues and Egyptian artifacts could be found there as well. It could be, folks. It could be. Now, let's see this. Mysteries of the Grand Canyon, Pyramids, and Ancient Civilizations. Here's a bit more on the subject. I guess that, or maybe I should look at this one. Pilot film UFOs formations over the Grand Canyon. The mysterious lost underground civilizations of the Grand Canyon. Maybe. All right. It sounds. Let me go. Let me try something here, folks. I just want to make sure. Sorry, I want to make sure I got mysteries of. Well, I'll get back to it in a moment, folks. Just need to do this real quick. Try this. Mysteries Lost Underground Civilization of the Grand Canyon. Yeah. There's that article over here. Did I find it here? Mysterious Lost Underground Civilization of the Grand Canyon. Yeah, I just want to make sure that was the same article I saw on this and stuff. I wanted to make sure I got the right one for you to look at, folks. The Mysterious Lost Underground Civilization of the Grand Canyon. Try one more time. Yeah. Let's get back to this, folks. We'll be looking at that story right now and having some fun. So let's get into this. The Mysterious Lost Underground Civilization of the Grand Canyon. I'll look at this one first before we get back to the other article. Lying within the U.S. state of Arizona is one of the most majestic natural wonders of our planet. The Grand Canyon, carved over hundreds of millions of years by the Colorado River and measuring 277 miles, 446 kilometers long, up to 18 miles, 29 kilometers wide. The Grand Canyon, pardon me, folks, is a major natural phenomenon, but it is also a place of deep historical mysteries and oddities as well. Under the earth, here once ruled an advanced civilization with unknown origins who have become lost to history, which supposedly inhabited a complex cave and cavern system that they left behind to sow bafflement and speculation with their passing. It is very curious, far out case that if real could shake our historical perceptions to the core. The whole bizarre tale began with a curious article that appeared right on the front page of the April 5th, 1909 edition of the Arizona Gazette, which gave a spectacular account from two alleged Smithsonian-funded archaeologists, Professor S.A. Jordan and G.E. Kincaid, who claimed to have found deep within the bowels of the earth in the Maple Canyon region of the Grand Canyon a vast cavern system with evidence of some ancient lost civilization. The two men were reportedly funded by the Smithsonian Department of Anthropology and claimed that they had found the entrance to the mysterious cavern system laying around 1,500 feet down the wall of a sheer cliff in a remote, undisclosed area. The area was described as being nearly inaccessible and surrounded by desolate, forbidden wilderness. And the more vocal Kincaid would say in his account of the discovery of the entrance and further study of it. Thus, first I would impress upon the cavern is nearly inaccessible. The entrance is 14,086 feet down the sheer canyon wall. It is located on government land, and no visitor will be allowed there under penalty of trespass. The scientists wish to work unmolested without fear of archaeological discoveries being disturbed by curio or relic hunters. A trip there would be fruitless, and the visitor would have to be sent on his way. The story of how I found the cavern has been related, but in a paragraph, I was journeying down the Colorado River in a boat alone looking for a mineral some 42 miles up the river from the El Tovo Crystal Canyon. I saw in the east the wall stains in the sedimentary formation about 2,000 feet above the riverbed. There was no trail to this point, but I finally reached it with great difficulty. Above a shelf which hid it from view from the river was the mouth of a cave. There are steps leading from the entrance some 30 yards to what was at the time the cavern was inhabited the level of the river. Upon making a treacherous trek down to the entrance, there was apparently found a whole intricate system of tunnels. Yeah, that's interesting. Upon making let me read this again and get a little more action to this voice and have some fun. Upon making the treacherous trek down to the entrance, there was apparently found a whole intricate system of tunnels, caverns, and caves that allegedly meandered off into the darkness, and it was noted that much of it seemed to have been laboriously chiseled and hewn by hand right into the stone. Upon investigation, this system was said to plunge to around a mile under the earth, with the vast chambers that radiated out into the new tunnels, and which opened up into hundreds of rooms with oval doorways. Kincaid said of these passages and rooms, the main passageway is about 12 feet wide, narrowing to 9 feet toward the further end, about 57 feet from the entrance. The first side passage branch off to the right and left wing, which on both sides are a number of rooms about the size of ordinary living rooms of today, although some are 30 to 40 feet square. These are entered by oval-shaped doors and are ventilated by round air spaces through the walls and the passages. The walls are about 3 feet, 6 feet in thickness. The passages are chiseled or hewn as straight as could be laid out by an engineer. The ceiling of many of the rooms converges to a center. The side passages near the entrance run at a sharp angle from the main hall, but toward the rear to the rear. They gradually reach a right angle in direction. All right. Interesting. Interesting, huh? Even stranger than all this were some of the things. Let me do that again. Even stranger than all of this were some of those things apparently found within this system of tunnels and caverns, which include numerous relics and artifacts such as weapons, various copper instruments, idols, urns, faces, all of which was taken as evidence of some ancient, previously unknown civilization, apparently from the Orient. At one point, they purportedly came across what appeared to be a grand shrine, absolutely brimming with such artifacts, none of which were from the region or the known peoples inhabiting this shrine, was described in Kincaid's report. All right. Interesting to think about it, folks. Very, very interesting. Yeah. But do you think there actually was an ancient civilization, or is this them just lying about it? And also, I suppose I could lie about it, but I don't really think so. If these things exist, it's amazing, isn't it, folks? Very amazing. I'm trying to think of some other ideas here, folks. So give me a moment. I'm trying to think here. Let's see. Let me get back to this article. Brimming with such artifacts, none of which were from the region or the known peoples inhabiting it. And this shrine was described in Kincaid's report thus: over 100 feet from the entrance is the cross hall, over 700 feet long, in which are found the idol or images of the people's gods, sitting cross-legged with a lotus flower or lily in each hand. The cast of the face is oriental, and the carvings of this cavern, the idol almost resembles Buddha, though the scientists are not certain as to what religious worship it represents. Taking into consideration everything found as far as possible, that this worship must resembles the ancient people of Tibet. Okay. All right, let's get back to this article and read a bit more, huh? That's interesting, though. Could be, maybe. Surrounding the idol are smaller images, some very beautiful in form, others crook-necked and distorted shapes, symbolically probably of good and evil. There are two large cactuses with protruding arms, one on each side of the dais in which the god squats. All of this is carved out of hard rock, resembling marble. In the opposite corner of the cross hall were found tools of all descriptions. Made of copper, these people undoubtedly knew the lost art of hardening this metal, which has been sought by chemicals for centuries without result. On a bench running around the workroom was some charcoal and other material, probably used in the process. There is also slag and stuff similar to mat, showing that these actually smelted ores. But so far, no trace of where or how this was done has been discovered, nor the origin of the ore. All right. Other rooms found were full of other bizarre items, and there were even discovered granaries full of seeds. The report dramatically goes on. Among the other finds are vases or urns and cups of copper and gold, made very artistic in design. The pottery work includes enameled ware and glazed vessels. Another passageway led to granaries, such as found in the Oriental temples. They contain seeds of various kinds. One very large storehouse has not yet been entered, as it is 12 feet high and can be reached only from above. The two copper hooks stand on the edge, which indicate that some sort of ladder was attached. These granaries are rounded. The materials of which they are constructed, I think it is very hard to cement. A gray metal is also found in this cavern, which puzzles the scientists, for its identity has not been established. It resembles a platinum stone prismatically over the floor everywhere, in what people call cat's eyes, a yellow stone of no great value. Each one is engraved with the head of the Meili type. All right. I mean, honestly, that's all. What can I say? Can't really say here, huh? It's very difficult to know what's really going on. Apparently, there are several entrances, but only the one entrance where only the main guys can get in. Otherwise, you'd go into these caverns and probably be killed. More bizarre discoveries were still to be made. Within these dark tunnels, caves, and rooms, as well as in many places, were found mysterious hieroglyphics etched into the stone on urns and carved into stone tablets. Although it was unknown what purpose they served and what they said, perhaps the most fascinating and also macabre discovery made down there in the gloom was that it can only be described as some sort of crypt, where they were allegedly found rows and rows of actual mummies stuffed into shelves, carved into sheer stone walls. Kincaid explained this unsettling script and great many details either. The tomb of crypt in which the mummies were found is one of the largest of the chambers. The walls slanted back at an angle of around 35 degrees. On these are tiers of mummies, each one occupying a separate hern shelf. At the end of each is a small bench in which is found copper cups and pieces of broken sword. Some of the mummies are covered with clay and all are wrapped in a bark fabric. The urns or cups on the lower side of the tiers are crude, while as the higher shelves are reached, the urns are finer in design. All right. Showing a later stage of civilization is worthy of note that all the mummies examined so far are proved to be male, no children or females being buried here. This leads to the belief that this exterior section was the warriors' barracks. Some areas are even more inscrutable and spooky to the point that they are mostly seen as possibly dangerous. One such location seemed to permeate with a sense of dread and danger, and Kincaid's description reads almost like something out of Indiana Jones film. There is one chamber on the passageway which is not ventilated, and we approached it a deadly snaky smell. Well, snarky smell struck us. Our light would not penetrate the gloom, and until stronger ones are available, we all know not what the chamber contains. Some say snakes, but others boo-hoo. This idea, I think, it may contain a deadly gas or chemicals used by the ancients. No sounds are heard, but it smells snarky just the same. The holding around insulation gives one of the snarky nerves the creeps. The gloom is like a weight on one's shoulders, and our flashlights and candles only make the darkness blacker. Our imagination can travel in conjectures and ungodly daydreams back through the ages that have lapsed till the mind reels dizzily. All right. How much more of this? Right. Ooh, okay. Not that much more. What was the purpose of this particularly eerie place, if any of this ever existed at all? Kincaid doesn't really say. There were also supposedly found barracks, sleeping quarters, and a vast dining hall complete with a mirrored cooking utensils. So extensive and complete was this veritable subterranean city that Kincaid speculated that there was enough space and facilities to comfortably house around 50,000 people, although those people was left to speculation. Kincaid's own history was that of a mysterious civilization had been there before the native peoples of the region, and indeed that the natives had possibly descended from them. He believed that these mysterious people had been there for thousands of years and that they had developed their advanced civilization here in solitude. The newspaper article also speculated that this civilization could have come from ancient Egypt, proving that the ancient Egyptians had made their way to the New World, saying that the discovery, Okay, almost conclusively proves that the race which inhabited this mysterious cavern heard in solid rock by human hands was of Oriental origin. They could be from Egypt, tracing back to the Ramses if their theories are borne out by the translation of the tablets and gave the hieroglyphics. The mystery of the prehistoric peoples of North America, their ancient ants, who they were and where they came, will be solved. Egypt and the Nile and Arizona and the Colorado will be linked by a historical chain running back to ages which suggest the wildest fancy of the fictionist. The whole area tale is quite sensational. The idea of some lost civilization from Egypt dwelling underneath the Grand Canyon captured the imagination of the public with Kincaid's Lost Underground City, or to become the stuff of legend. The problem is there's very little to corroborate this story or to even prove that Kincaid was ever a real person. No artifacts seem to have ever been recovered from the supposed amazing find, even though Kincaid claimed he'd shipped a number. of of the relics of the relics to the Smithsonian Institute, pictures taken, and indeed there are no other articles or any publications to support or verify the claims, even the one that appeared in the Arizona Gazette, first penned by an anonymous author, which does not bode well. Additionally, there seems to be no record of a Professor Kincaid or Professor Jordan within the Smithsonian's Department of Anthropology, nor is there any paperwork concerning them or their supposed discoveries. The Smithsonian itself was blatantly said in a statement, the World Explorers Club, huh? Okay. Well, the first thing I can tell you before we go any further is that no Egyptian artifacts of any kind have ever been found in North or South America. Therefore, I can tell you that the Smithsonian Institute has never been involved in any such excavations. All right. Considering the lack of evidence and the pure off-the-wall sensationalism of the report, it seems that there is a very good possibility that this is all a hoax perpetrated by either the newspaper to sell copies of the anonymous author or Kincaid himself if he was ever real to begin with. With all of this made plausible by being dressed up with references to the Smithsonian and then plastered in front of on the front page for effect, conspiracy theory, despite all of this evidence that this underground civilization never really existed, the story will not idle and has been published and republished in numerous sources and debated as being possible or possibly real ever since. Huh? One of the more popular theories is the venerable Smithsonian itself is engaged in a cover-up of the buildings, destroying the evidence and that paper trail that leads to it in order to maintain the status quo and preserve the accepted historical paradigm. There are several, even those who claim to know the actual whereabouts of the cavern entrance, such as the researcher Jack Andrews, who says that he was able to ascertain the location way back in 1972 and was only cryptically given hints about that, and that are maddeningly ambiguous, saying, all right. I think the cave described in the headline of the story of the Arizona Gazette, April 5th, 1909, its fantastic underground installation was still maybe located above the approximately 6-mile stretch of the Colorado River in Maple Canyon, at the border of Maple Canyon in the Navajo Nation above, an area near Kikawant Rapids. Okay. Conspiracy theorist John Rhodes also claims that to know the secrets to the location of Kincaid Cave, though he's very secretive about it, only to say that it's constantly guarded by an armed security guard, and adding that it has become the base of operations for a secret society. Even more bizarre is a crackpot David Icke, mostly known for his outlandish theories about reptilian humanoids infiltrating society in an effort to become our overlords and take over. Icke believes that Icke believes that the Kincaid cave system not only exists, but is also a reptilian central in his sensational book, 1999 book, The Biggest Secret, Icke writes. In 1909, a subterranean city, which was built with the precision of the Grand Canyon, was found by G.E. Kincaid near the Grand Canyon in Arizona. It was big enough to accommodate 50,000 people in mummified bodies. They were found or were of Oriental or possibly Egyptian origin. According to the expedition leader, Professor S.A. Jordan, my own research suggests that it is found another dimension, the lower fourth dimension, that the reptilian can't control and manipulate is primarily orchestrated. All right. It is clear that tale of Kincaid's mysterious caves continued to incite speculation and debate, and that is a spectacular story that captured the imagination and shows no real signs of waning. Is there anything to it, or is this all just a pure hoax or half-truth? Is the caves ever did exist, then where are they, and who were the inscrutable people who supposedly inhabited them? Were they made by ancient Arabs, placed Egyptians, some sort of other lost civilization, or ancient Arab place Egyptians, some sort of other lost civilization of underground monsters and stuff like that. A place where, such a place and its relics would be absolutely groundbreaking. Rewriting history itself, but considering the lack of articles taken about them and the complex lack of any evidence, the story is a dead end at best and probably remain mysterious and full of conspiracies, just as buried in the mystery as the sea itself. All right, 40 minutes in. We got that article done, but we have so many more to do. All right. Guess can see fine on this article. It's interesting though. Pilot films 2 UFOs flying in formation over the Grand Canyon. All right, let's look at this. All right. The National Park System, sorry, me folks, is one of America's crowning achievements for a lot of us. It's easy to forget that America is some of the most spectacular geography and landscapes in the world, and the preservation of huge swaths of wilderness as national parks that anyone can visit and explore is a truly fantastic. But the wilderness of America is a strange place, and the national parks are all hotbeds of paranormal activity. From UFOs to the missing 411 cases and everything in between. Recent footage allegedly taken by a pilot flying over the Grand Canyon reports to show some of that strangeness. All right. According to the YouTube channel, The Hidden Underbelly 2.0, who shared this video, you can see the footage for yourself here. The footage was taken by pilot Mike Wagner as he was flying over the Grand Canyon in broad daylight. It shows 2 white reflective objects flying in tandem beneath the plane over the Grand Canyon. The objects have no discernible features, but could be seen as having a similar shape to the Tic Tac UFO seen from the USS Nimitz in 2004, which has been at the center of the ongoing saga of the relationship and the government's relationship for UFOs and stuff like that. But then again, lots of things look like a white Tic Tac when you're seen from that far away or blurred from enlarging the footage. All right. Oh, not that much left, huh? One alternative explanation would be that the objects are actually distant and blurry birds, but that doesn't seem at all that likely due to the video actually being in slow motion. According to Mike Wagner in the description, the originally uploaded video, the footage was shot at 120 FPS and slowed to 24 FPS, considering that even 24 FPS, the video was only 30 or so. Or 30 or so seconds long, and the objects only appear briefly. They must only. All right, sorry about that, folks. Losing my place. Have only, where was it? Considering that even 24 FPS, the video only lasts 30 or so seconds long, and the objects only appear briefly. Then they were probably flying incredibly fast. They were flying incredibly fast. It would be nice to see the real-time footage. Without seeing the original video, an actual speed, it's hard to say. It's hard to say without these objects what these objects are, or if they're actually objects. If they're actually objects at all. The cynic in if they're actually objects at all. The cynic in me wants to say that there's a nefarious reason for not showing the 120 FPS video at full speed. Is it clear that the UFOs maybe well, both of those explanations seem to fall short as well. Perhaps it's just impossible to see anything at 120 FPS, the other explanation, and just as painful to say this time is always. All right. As this time, as always, is that it's a couple of drones that are not necessarily the best explanation, but always a possibility now. All right. While this footage isn't conclusive by any means, the Grand Canyon does have a history of weirdness. Last year, a series of cattle mutilations were reported in Arizona near the Grand Canyon. Then there are the tales of mysterious underground civilizations below the canyon. First reported in 1909. Cattle mutilations, mysterious lost civilization, UFOs all go together when you're cooking up a spooky stew. This footage certainly isn't proof of any of it, but next time you're in one of the national parks, remember to keep your camera at the ready. And for the love of all, that is holy, but by a telescope lens. All right. I get back over here. 45 minutes in, not too bad. I explain cattle mutilations beyond reported near Grand Canyon, newly released images of the solar system's largest canyon, I suppose. Let's see. NASA finds liquid-filled Earth-like canyons on Saturn's moon. One of NASA's deep space probes, let me get back up here, has made a surprising discovery during a geologic survey of Titan, the largest of, well, wait a minute, sorry. Yeah, we're talking about the Grand Canyon. Sorry, I mistook that. Let's see, maybe go over here. Mr. Surprising footprints in the Grand Canyon dates back 313 million years. Let's take a look at this. All right. Footprints found in the Grand Canyon, Arizona, reveal the journey that the two creatures took when they walked up the sand dunes approximately 313 million years ago. The footprints were discovered when a huge boulder fell down in the Pennsylvania and Manchukuo Formation, revealing the imprinted tracks. The footprints belong to a couple of four-legged shelled egg-laying creatures belonging to the same species, but they didn't go together as they traveled up to the up the sand dunes in a few hours or even days apart from each other. Researchers found 28 footprints. Each row contained 4 footprints, 3 inches apart, with claw marks pointing forward. One of the creatures, the other set of prints down didn't contain claw marks on the right side, which may suggest that its right foot could have been injured, causing it to limp. More specifically, the first creature walked towards its right side and traveled slower than the second enema. All right. The footprints were found by a Norwegian geology professor named Alan Kill himself, who was out for a hike with several of his students when they came across the fallen boulder. When they examined the surprising discovery, they noticed the footprints and immediately sent a picture of Kill's colleague, Stephen Berlin, who is a paleontologist, University of Nevada, Las Vegas. Roland's explanation how incredible this discovery was: these are by far the oldest vertebrate tracks in Grand Canyon, which is known for its abundant fossil tracks. He went on to say that they are among the oldest tracks on Earth and shelled egg-laying animals such as reptiles, and the earliest evidence of vertebrates and animals walking in sand dunes. Several of the pictures several of the footprints can be seen here. All right. The researchers found that the creatures that left their footprints walked in a specific rate pattern called a lateral sequence walk, which means that its legs on one side would move in sequence as its rear legs would move first, followed by a foreleg, and then the two legs on the upper side of the animal would move forward. Basically, it would look like similar to when cats and dogs walk slowly. The Bright Angel trail tracks document the use of the gait very early in the history of vertebrate animals. We previously had no information about that. Roland explained that their study on ancient footprints can be found right here, apparently. To when cats and dogs walk slowly and stuff like that. All right. That's interesting. Mysterious vanishing of the Grand Canyon. I could look at that. Pilot films 2 UFOs flying formation over the Grand Canyon. Let's look at that now. The National Park System is one of America's crowning achievements for a lot of us. It's easy to forget that America has some of the most spectacular geography and landscapes in the world, and the preservation of huge swaths of wilderness as national parks that anyone can visit and explore is a truly fantastic, but the wilderness of America is a strange place, and the national parks are all hotbeds of paranormal activity, from UFOs to the missing 411 cases, and everything in between. Recent footage allegedly taken by a pilot flying over the Grand Canyon reports to show some of the strangeness. All right. According to the YouTube channel The Hidden Underbelly 2.0, who shared this video, you can see the footage for yourself here. The footage was taken by pilot Mac Wagner as he was flying over the Grand Canyon in broad daylight. All right. Right there. That's where I was. Mike Wagner, as he was flying over the Grand Canyon in broad daylight, it shows 2 white reflective objects flying in tandem beneath the plane over the Grand Canyon. The objects have no discernible features, but could be seen as having a similar shape to the Tic Tac UFO seen from the U.S. Nimitz in 2004, which has been at the center of the ongoing saga of the military relationship to UFOs. But then again, let's also check of things like a white Tic Tac when seen from afar, always or blurred from the enlarging the footage. All right. One alternative explanation would be that the objects are actually distant and blurry birds, but that doesn't seem at all that likely due to the video actually being in slow motion. According to Mac Wagner, the description of the originally uploaded video, the footage was shot at 120 FPS and slowed down to 24 FPS, considering that even at 24 FPS, the video was only about 30 or so seconds long, and the objects only appear briefly. They must only have appeared for a split second in real time if they are in fact actual objects flying above the Grand Canyon. That they were probably flying incredibly fast. It would be nice to see the real-time footage. All right, is that good? Without seeing the original at actual speed, it's hard to say what these objects are, or if they are actually objects at all. The cynic in me wants to say that there's a nefarious reason for not showing at the 120 FPS videos. All right. At full speed, it is clear that the UFOs are scratches on the glass of glowing sunlight. Maybe, but maybe not. Both of these explanations seem to fall short as well. Explanation, and it's just as plentiful story this time as always, is that it's a couple of drones that are not necessarily the best explanation for always, but it's always a possibility now. While the footage isn't conclusive by any means, the Grand Canyon does have a history of weirdness. Last year, a series of cattle mutilations were reported in Arizona near the Grand Canyon. Then there are the tales of the mysterious underground civilization below the canyon, first reported in 1909. Cattle mutilations, mysterious lost civilizations, UFOs all go together pretty well. Cooking up a spooky time. This footage certainly isn't proof of any of it, but next time you're in one of those national parks, remember to keep the camera at ready, and for the love of all that is holy. Yeah, interesting. Oops, I think I screwed up there, huh? While this footage isn't conclusive by means of the Grand Canyon, I'm just going to repeat this, okay, folks? While this footage isn't conclusive by any means, the Grand Canyon does have a history of weirdness. Last year, a series of cattle mutilations were reported in Arizona near the Grand Canyon. Then there are the tales of mysterious underground mutilations, mysterious lost civilizations, and UFOs all go together pretty well when you're cooking up a spooky story stew. This one is of the national parks. Remember to keep a camera at the ready for the love of all that is holy, buy a telescope as well. Interesting. Let me go over here. 55 minutes in, huh, folks? Not too bad. But we're coming into this live stream, so that's not too bad. Learned quite a bit about this. We learned about ancient lost civilizations of the Grand Canyon. We also learned about possible UFOs as well. So that's all very weird and new. But hey, folks, this has been pretty good. But please go and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Read Comics They're Bad For You, okay? Just get anything. Just get my cell phone out and basically, take down his phone number, and that should allow you to find him when he's not on duty. And that would be a good thing for one of these guys who don't like these other guys. So that's good. Stuff like that. I think I got a little off purpose here, but tonight has been a great stream, folks. And I'm going to ask you again, please go and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Read Comics They're Bad For You. Remember that there in the title is misspelled. It's THERE. Then boom. We don't know if we make it or not, but looks awesome for a movie. I mean, it really looks good. Yeah. But as I said, folks, please go and did I get off topic again, folks? Sorry, I'm just tired. As I said, please go and as I was talking about the Grand Canyon, really it does seem interesting. Are there lost civilizations and all that? If I got off topic, I think I did there for a moment. And just know this, there are possibly lost civilizations, or even lost treasure, as well as alien technology, possibly. Is it all real? None of us know, and we'd very much like to learn what exactly that you want. Well, to screw up again, get off track. Sorry, folks, I keep going off track because I keep letting my mind wander because I'm tired. But please go and subscribe. But as I was saying, we were talking about the Grand Canyon, and do you think it's all real? Possibly, as I keep saying that. But I get off track and I'm tired. But it's all very interesting to think about. Please go and subscribe once again. Yeah, please go and subscribe to my YouTube channel, Read Comics They're Bad For You. That's Read Comics They're Bad For You. Remember that there in the title is misspelled, and, a lot of other stuff goes on. Lost my place again of what I was thinking. Am I even reading anything? But I lost what I was saying. I know I just said, please go and subscribe to my YouTube channel and stuff like that. Yeah, so go and subscribe to my YouTube channel, Read Comics They're Bad For You. As well, remember that there in the title is misspelled, so it's Read Comics They're Bad For You. It's THERE. Make sure you're still subscribed. Leave some comments down below. Yeah. If you want to watch this stream again, go to past live streams on my channel or use the link on the pinned tweet at 777 MegaChris1. That's at 777 MegaChris1. As I said, hit that bell for notifications. It helps me fight the algorithm. Hit the notification bell and hit the part of the notification bell that will give you all future notifications. And please go share this video out. Also, please go over and subscribe to Stitched Together Pics. Okay, it's a great YouTube channel, as well as go over and subscribe to Robot Co-op. That's another great channel. And also go and subscribe to Creepy Little Book, which is just a great show. It's all very good shows, folks. If you're into weird science fiction stuff like that, I'm sure you'll enjoy them. So that's good as well. Remember, folks, please, I'll be back again tomorrow on 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock. p.m. or maybe 8, 10, or 11 o'clock p.m. for another live stream. Yeah, 9 o'clock. Well, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, or 11 o'clock p.m. tomorrow for another live stream. So be sure to come back again. Be sure to come back again, folks. This will be awesome. Or something like it and stuff like that. All right. I'm Chris Williams from the Scumdogs Kennel. Be sure. Yeah, I'm Chris Williams from the Scumdogs Kennel. Thank you all for joining